Hi everyone, it's Michelle for the Herald, and today for Throwback Thursday with us I have Dr. Roman Abdullah, and she is a eye doctor at the Laratong Hospital in the eye clinic division. And today she's going to just quickly speak to us more about how far cataract surgery has come. Hi doctor, thank you for taking this time with us.
Thanks, Michelle. So, Michelle, this is a very interesting topic because there have been so many advances in cataract surgery. In fact, cataract surgery is one of the oldest surgical procedures that's actually around. It's been around since the 5th century before Christ. Can you believe it? And in fact, back then, the procedure was actually described as a technique called couching, where if you had a very rock-hard lens and you were blind from it, the attending physician at the time would strike your eye with a blunt object, very forcefully hitting the eye, and this would dislocate the cataract into the back of the eye, and the person would have a little bit of better vision. But of course, since then there have been lots of advances, and in fact the first procedure was actually described like a proper surgical procedure described in the 1700s in Paris. And back then they were able to make quite a large wound from one end of the cornea to the other, almost half the cornea circumference, and remove the cataract in one piece. Now, the cataract is essentially a lens that has aged and that has now become opacified. So since then, since the 1700s, we've basically been working on different ways to remove the structure. So an old lens is essentially a cataract, and since the 1700s there have been some great advances. In fact, in the 1960s, an amazing doctor, Dr. Charles Kelman, actually invented a procedure called phacoemulsification, and this actually changed everything, because by breaking up the cataract with ultrasound, we were now able to create a much smaller wound. And so you would enter a very small wound of about 3 millimeters with a probe that will then break up the cataract into tiny pieces, remove it, leaving behind the lens capsule, and into that we would be able to put an artificial lens. Now, the artificial lens is another development that followed following the advancement of being able to remove the cataract. And lenses basically have taken off, and there are lots of lenses available today. There are bifocal lenses, multifocal lenses that are available. But really, it all started in World War II. There was a doctor back then who realized that fighter pilots in World War II would have pieces of the airplane's windshield into their eyes, fragments, and wouldn't necessarily damage their eyes. And since then, that gave birth to a whole industry of creating lenses. So together with advances in surgical technique and replacing the lens with artificial lens implants, the procedure now has really been perfected, and in fact we continue to work on it because we want to really be able to create a lens that can act like your normal lens. Today you'll pop into your ophthalmologist if you have a cataract. They'll have a look at your eye, they'll measure your eye, they'll size you for an artificial implant, and you literally go to your theatre and with a 10-minute procedure, breaking up the cataract with ultrasound, removing it within, like I said, a few minutes, we can then put in an artificial implant, and within 24 hours you'll be back on your feet and you'll be able to go to the mall, and within a week you'll probably be able to drive.
Sure.
So from the procedure of couching to today, we've come a long way, and it keeps getting better. So don't be afraid to come and see your ophthalmologist. We're not going to do couching. It's going to be a straightforward, easy procedure, and there's really nothing to be afraid of.
Thank you so much for having us and for, making people aware that it isn't as scary as some might think.
Absolutely. Thanks, Michelle. It's a pleasure. Bye.